You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and skip this bit because I do have some things to say about this film. Star Wars is undoubtedly a cultural phenomenon that has been growing strong for close to 40 years now, but many people may not know that the lore and presence of the films extends far beyond the canonical episodes 1 through 7, soon to be 8 and 9. Over its history, George Lucas and his many branches of production have pumped out books, television shows, comics, computer software, manga, and the like, expanding the mythology even more, in addition to feed its own monster of a merchandising empire. While not always concerning the exploits of family Skywalker, Solo, or whatever, they have served as supplemental material in order to appease fans hungry for more adventures in a galaxy far, far away, taking place anywhere from 4,000 years before or a century after the films. Just like the films, there are hits and misses, but you can find some great gems in what has been dubbed the expanded universe of Star Wars, in television and even in video games, but not every one of these can be a winner. With this state of spin-offs in mind, it's interesting to see how Rogue One, a Star Wars story, will go about telling, essentially, that kind of narrative. And after seeing the film, it feels like any other EU work closely tied to the original trilogy, for good and unfortunately for ill. Detailing a group of rebels' plight to acquire documentation on the largely unknown Death Star, the film follows our heroine as she reluctantly helps the rebellion track down her father several years after he was taken back to the Empire to finish work on the still unfinished Killer Space Station. Along the way, she meets up with a Han Solo-esque rebel general, played by Diego Luna, his reprogrammed Empire Sith droid, K2SO, an Empire traitor and space pilot, a blind ancient monk, and his accompanying heavy arms wielding friend. Over the course of the film, they travel to differing planets in order to gain the information on the satellite and how to destroy it. First, the good. Star Wars has never really been a slouch in the production department, and the film is a pleasure to look at if anything else. Everything has detail and a sense of grime and asymmetry similar to the original, and the sense of scope in the film is great. There are shots in this film that are absolutely gorgeous, and it's highly detailed and realized. The special effects are really top-notch in regards to science fiction aspects like creature design and certain spacecraft. Looking back on it now, it felt like I was a kid again, going to the theater to see those magic moving pictures detailing far-off places and other unimaginable things previously unseen to my adolescent eye. It was a legitimate sense of wonder, and I respect the film in that aspect. But I feel that the key to any movie, and to any Star Wars film in particular, is that we need characters to be invested in, and sorry to say, I didn't care about anybody in this film. Felicity Jones and Diego Luna, who I don't doubt that they make more charismatic actors elsewhere, are so flat, so underdeveloped, and so boring that I'm astounded as to how it made it past Disney and Lucasfilm internally. They are given some development, sure, but I didn't really care about mostly anybody because it felt like they weren't conveying any valid reason as to why I should. It was really only the other members of Rogue One that I really got attached to in some way. Alan Tudyk K2SO is a different breed of Star Wars android in the fact that he's sarcastic and opinionated, and he does get the most laughs out of me. He does evoke some qualities of Marvin the Android from Douglas Adams' works and even Knights of the Old Republic's HK-47 when talking Star Wars. Donnie Yen and Zhang Wen's characters make a compelling pair, channeling both aspects of these science fiction series with their fighting styles of choice, in addition to a legitimate drama between them, however brief. I even dug Riz Ahmed's cycle as an Empire member trying to find redemption in Mad Mikkelsen's crazy plan to compromise the space dictatorship. But everyone pretty much plays it safe. Save for Ben Mendelsohn's brief spouts of evil as a weapons head working for the bad guys. While a film with a few bland characters is a problem in and of itself, what I think worsens the blow even more is that the film has these characters engaged with certain imagery and concepts that evoke comparisons to real-world conflicts. Rogue One has scenes, locations, and ideas taken from other war films specifically, but also from real-life footage and accounts from the Vietnam War, World War II, and even the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. The characters even reenact the whole covering a comrade via sniper rifle thing. I'm hardly one to moan about films having some sort of politics or contextual themes, and while some of these ideas are decently utilized, they do seem half-baked because the film just passes by a cool idea as a stop on a tour, an unconnected obstacle that the characters need to get through. Star Wars and the science fiction genre in general has mostly been celebrated for their depictions of contextual ideas and characters, but the right ones are hardly here. It claims to be inspired by conflict and does want to focus on it closely, but it's largely a MacGuffin plot like other films in the franchise. It would be excusable if the characters were strong and if I was invested in them, but I wasn't. I just feel cheated because of the inclusion of these elements, but to be honest, it's more specifically how a subplot in Act 1 is very similar to the retrospective petro-narrative we have for conflict in the Middle East that wasn't expanded at all, but maybe in a tie-in book, I guess. Star Wars always has influence from a bunch of things, including war and politics, but I feel that here they were too overt when considering how little time they spent with them, which I think is the problem. It just feels like since these characters are designed to be expendable anyway, why develop them? This is a problem with many EU-branded works in Star Wars, and it sucks that it had to happen here. The whole thing just feels like a desire to make a prequel to the original without really putting anything of substance into it because it has to serve its purpose to give some backstory to what we read in 1977. Even the score, being the first live-action Star Wars film not to be scored by John Williams, seems to be going through the motions. Just why does this happen with Gareth Edwards' films? Is he just a bad director when dealing with intense subject matter? Do his films just need a rewrite? I don't know. Does he need new screenwriters? Does he not give a crap about the human emotion? Ugh. With all that in mind, I can't say I really hate or even dislike the film. It's all very well put together, and there's a bunch of fan service when it comes to original trilogy diehards, so yeah, I do recommend seeing the film if you have any fascination with a lot of things at play here. I can't say it's the worst Star Wars film to watch, considering that interesting stuff does happen in the film, but I'm short to give it any praise in regards to characterization compared to 4, 5, 6, and even 7, dadgummit! If you wanted to watch the aesthetics of classic Star Wars as forged in 2016 filmmaking, you can get your fill here. With this review, I find myself at odds with mainstream cinema at times, especially when it comes to nerd properties such as Star Wars, but while I grumble on the internet, never ever let me stop you from enjoying something you earnestly love. So yeah, I'm MaximumAustin, and as always, remember to keep being confident, and you enjoy your day. May the Force be with you.